They're changing my voice. Being sane means that when you see the picture on the screen, you know that it was put together quickly, but it's correct. The top martial artist ever possible is above everyone else. They do things to try to make them seem more appealing, and they do things that take away from my image, and they fuel me and poison me, etc. You know that the more they persecute me, the more notches I have under my belt, so to speak. The more elevated. The more I can boast in the Lord. I gave myself over to hardship as the most handsome person that ever lived, and was persecuted and made less attractive while everyone else was tail tucked. It is impossible to be of rational mind, to be sane, and to look at that picture on the screen and to not know that I'm above everyone else and whoever would persecute me was one dumb fuck. Again, I don't care if you have brain damage or a developmental disorder or biological dysfunction or genetic abnormality. It makes it harder for you to think. I weigh the situation, your circumstances, and I know that the vast majority of people are to be held responsible for their actions to the extreme. I once dated a female with cerebral palsy. One of the smartest people I've ever dated. Very smart female. You people have chosen to embrace your developmental disorders, your bad brain function, and to be in the repetition of being evil. Doing sick things. Very stupid choice. Very dumb decision. There's countless people who are into the occult, fanatic gays, whites, Jews, token minorities, but it's mostly whites, Jews, and gays. Feels more token minorities. I would call it as such. I'm not racist. I'm a moral supremacist, not a racial supremacist. When I see some cultures, regardless of who they are, that are trying to force me into their cultures unfairly, violate my God-given rights, my human rights, civil rights, and even constitutional rights, then I must hold those cultures responsible. When people as races are moving on me, gangstalking me, harassing me, fuming and poisoning me, causing me neurological damage at the most important time in history, those races, those groups, those cultures, regardless who they are, must be held accountable according to their deeds. If they try to scapegoat other people, like they scapegoat the people of color in the news quite often, in the comments on the news videos, where they try to pretend that they weren't made in America. They try to pretend that there's not peaceful people of color all over the world who are in superior cultures to the cultures that were made here in America and made in Europe. They try to pretend that they didn't sabotage the countries of those immigrants who come there. And then recently in the news, there was a story of the Greek Coast Guard supposedly and allegedly throwing people into the ocean. And they were caught on camera forcing them onto a little life raft and put into the open ocean, open water. They pretend that their cultures are superior. They go to churches and pretend to be right with God. That is how you call on extreme curses from God on your people. Am I arguing that magically people can overthrow their governments, with less technology? No, God doesn't care about that. Life is short. Life is short. If you live as some kind of petty supremacist dog, some kind of petty racial supremacist piece of shit, whose people have oppressed the masses of people in the world, then try to use that to say that they're superior. They push them into cultures of crime and try to use that to say that they're more decent. Woe to you and all who do not flee from you and your Babylonian culture. As it stands, no one's right with God but me. That means every white, Jewish, and LGBT person cannot claim to be obeying God through me. My mom is blameless, she's white, okay. But they cannot claim to be obeying God through me, which means they cannot represent God. They cannot represent true love. They cannot represent righteousness or martial arts in a valid manner, only in extreme fucking disgrace. There's no other way to look at it.